relegation spots, currently sitting second last in the league, and Knights, of course, gunning for that #1 spot in APAC South.
You know what I just realised?
What did you just realise, mate?
The fact that all of Xenox's fun facts are quite literally just from your spreadsheet.
Yeah,
So,
well, no, I literally took the information from my spreadsheet and then I posted it in the Discord chat that we all use. And then Xenox is like, hey guys, fun fact, here's something that I made up myself. And it definitely wasn't Dev. And yeah, I mean, I've come to expect that. I do often have to carry this team. So
he's done that a couple of times. I'll tell you what, I'm starting to get a bit sick of it. This bloke, he's passing off others as their own. Others' work as his own. Sorry, that really didn't come out all that well. Flores and Thatcher banned on the attack here. Mirror image to what we saw on Club. That is a little bit different though. The Clash going to be banned out from Knights as their defense.
Yeah, it's a good play. Don't want to play against that Clash QC. I personally haven't seen a huge amount of it, but it does creep in every now and then. The Flores and Thatcher ban, pretty common. Flores getting out means that we're going to see Jaeger Wamai be impactful unless the Wamai gets banned. No, it's the Valk. So Wamai's still in, Jaeger still in, which means we can really fortify some of these positions behind deployable shields, some of these power positions. For example, on Library Stairs, on the bar defense, team's going to have to be really good at using their projectiles to clear that up because they won't have the Flores to lean on.
Can we also just take a minute to say how upset I am that Bank was not picked, that we weren't able to see... I mean, I have not cast it yet in the, what, 7 odd play days that I've had.
Jeez.
A little bit disappointed, not going to lie. There was an opportunity there, but nevertheless, we do head to Bar and Gaming. First up, and Dev dare say that we will see that extension above. We'll see the Library Stairs hold, potentially?
100%. Ooh, well, I actually picked off of. So, starting to forfeit a little bit of projectile denial in favor of getting a second shield here. I feel like they could have just gone for both. Get rid of the Pulse. If there's anything here that I feel like you could trade out, it would be the Pulse. But they wanted the 2 shields, they wanted the Pulse. He must have an impact here, like he's got to. And you can do a lot with the Pulse. Like if you play in stock, which is this little small room that connects the 2 bomb sites, you can get a lot of information outside, anyone rotating, even down in Wine Cellar, where a lot of players like to creep up. So I think that's a good move from QConfirm, depending on how Knights do at clearing that top floor. Because if Knights really struggle, or if Knights are rather really successful at countering these 2 shield positions, 1 top Library Stairs, 1 big pillar, then I think QConfirm are going to miss out on that Wamai, particularly because the Capital, which you don't see every day, is being brought here by Knights, and that does not get countered by the Jaeger, only the Wamai.
This could be big. Wait and see. Knights approaching. Oh, Producer needs to be careful here. I mean, surely Pulse goes down early. That could be quite detrimental. A huge intel gatherer for QConfirm. And also, I mean, it is Producer. Producer is quite gnarly. He does make his way back into a little bit more safety of Kitchen, but still needs to be careful. Can be cut off on that rotate should they be able to open up. Lobby start to push in. Not going to be the case, though. They're looking to take that top down clear. Top down clear? Yeah, that made sense.
It does, mate. You're just spot on as always. Well done. Robert, well done. I love this angle that we can see Josh getting, or about to get, from on this balcony. Ooh, Juicy might have a play here. Very aggressive. With all these lines of sight open and with the M249, you can do a lot of damage, cut off these rotations within the site. As the rest of the Knights focus, for the most part, I was going to say on this top floor clip, but they've actually completely rotated off. There's not really a lot of presence upstairs now. Sage lurking down below. Think he did get the info on Hajime.
Hajime certainly played into the safer hand. That's no doubting there. Knights have taken a decent amount of control with Juicy, as you'd said previously. Now starting to push the issue and keep those players on site locked in position. But again, Producer, I mean, his money's worth will be made very quickly when Knights start to make their presence known. 2 players outside of lobby, or at least Dino. I think Sage is underneath, and I've been baited there. But Dino, this could be absolutely massive. Has he spotted him? You bet it. 100% he has.
I mean, surely this is a pre-fight from the Poles, and he wins it. Dino goes down. And it looks like Knights are in a bit of an awkward spot. We'll try and redeem this a little bit, but I roasted the Pulse pick. It's been incredibly impactful. Josh does find one, however. Nice aggressive pick, and Sage as well, clearing the Aruni gate, but this is why you've got to clear the top floor. It's going to be so difficult for Knights to make this work when QConfirm still have so much control.
How much utility they still have left between them. No flashes on Josh, but Juicy still has that all wonderful crossbow. Josh now getting into a position that he might be able to find something should they try to return back to site. Juicy finding Spacehead is actually rather large. Hajime, though, bites back. And now Josh has to clutch up.
15 seconds to go.
Bar hatch is still closed, so gaming hatch open. What are Hajime and Dark going to do to play this? They're playing it safe. Oh, and that's a lot of info. Dark should be able to finish him off in just a moment. He does. And a good retake gets QConfirm the first round here. A pivotal one for them, starting strong. Knights just had absolutely no control.
Defender mission successful.
Definitely felt a little bit disjointed, there's no doubt about it. When QC find the opening 2 picks and you're scrambling to trade back, that's always going to happen. We will continue to ask the big questions of Knights. One being, why Chalet? All the maps that we could have ended up seeing, Chalet kind of, you could say leaking through to an extent, is not one that I would really have favoured a fair fight on, that's for sure. This is an open door for QConfirm, but it is always about how they do and how they deal with the pressure that Knights can bring. Quite a team that is more than capable of adapting. Castle now 6th picked out for the mirror.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defeated by attackers.
Yes, this is a staple map for QC. They have played it 10 times this year in their local leagues almost exclusively. We've got the Gakwe scrimmage and the Operation League Thailand. Not really much at this level. They did play it a couple of times in the APAC playoffs for Stage 2. But it's not really proven against high-level competition like the Knights. But in contrast, like, this is one of the first time Knights is ever playing this map. And so it's very much unproven for the Knights. And for a little bit more context too, like, yes, I kind of said that QC are trying to get out of those relegation spots for the whole year, of the whole season. But the thing is that Stage 2 is actually really strong for them. Stage 1, bloody abysmal, but Stage 2, excellent for QConfirm, also excellent for Knights. And what that means is, as a result of those 2 stages, these teams are actually tied up in head-to-head. Like, Knights won 7-2 in Stage 1, QConfirm won 7-5 when these teams encountered in Stage 2. So while it really does feel like Knights should heavily be favoured here, QConfirm definitely are a lot closer than perhaps we initially gave them credit for.
Yeah, the biggest problem with QC from Stage 2 was the fact that, you know, they had 3 incredible opening play days, and then from there they went on to lose 3 of their preceding 4 matches toward the end of the season, end of the stage, which that really then just, it kind of overshadowed what they'd been able to do. But there's no doubt about it, they can perform to a high standard here, especially in APAC South. And especially when teams start to kind of allow them that room to move. And I say Chalet is probably the least favoured map for Knights in terms of this matchup. So I really think that the ball's been slipped a little bit in that perspective. Again, we don't know what's going on the inside, but Haywood needs to be careful here because, like Colas, he's just on the other side.
It's going to be such a free kill if he gets the timing. He doesn't. It's one of his teammates watching. Like, Colas is in just such a slippery position.
Yeah.
Almost no one would play here. It's so exposed. You have no mobility, but you can get a free kill. So that's always nice. I mean, a very unusual spot, but that's part of the reason why it was so effective. Dark's also found an aggressive peek. Refragged. Both of those kills refragged back.
Twice in a row now, Knights have been down 2 men, but still been able to bring that deficit back in relatively quick succession. Geez, we got it out there. But Hajime and the remaining members of QConfirm, they are going to need to hold strong here. There's the ability that you do grab when you're on the Capital. That additional hard-breaching device can pay dividends, especially when things start to get a little bit close to the wire, which 50 seconds left, it will very quickly slip away.
A gunfight could certainly dictate this if Knights are given the
Attackers have
opportunity.
located a bomb.
Juicy's so low on HP, there's no
Attackers
gas
have
left for
recovered their
Producer Ben.
diffuser.
30 seconds. Josh, the player, to lurk and make a flank, but the jig is up. He's been called out. Now some cover, but the last gas detonated now. It was actually already in the field, so he did have one left. There's not going to be a lot of time for Knights to make this work.
Not at all, but that is a massive pick to open things up. Spacehead goes down. Hajime and Producer to hold for QConfirm here, and Producer, he will do what he does best. Hajime can't get it done though. Josh now starts to push in. What can Producer do? Shotty in hand. He'll get shut down by Josh in the smoke. And that is a massive round for Knights to be able to bring back, and now evens it out one apiece.
Yeah, and an excellent round from Josh as well. He really stepped up in the latter part. Knights, it was so unlikely that they were able to just make a normal passive plant go down. They needed that backstab. That's exactly what Josh did. He's been a linchpin player so far in this roster and looking to continue that trend here. One apiece, as you say. QConfirm, still that bar game's locked out. They're going to go try master after unsuccessful kitchen dining. But I am going to admit, Rob, I feel like as the game goes on, if QConfirm keep trying to make these cheeky little rat plays, and I don't mean that with any offense, it's just what it is. You're standing in the middle of the lobby, just in a tiny little position where you would be punished and a free kill if you were droned out. They're going to keep taking risks like that. Knights are going to read into it. Yep. And this is going to start to spiral in their favor.
It is, you know, and it is the duality of playing against Knights, because on one hand, we always say, if you're going up against a team like Knights, you need to do things that are sporadic. You need to be able to catch them off guard. But in that exact same breath, we then say, but you have to be careful not to do it too much, because Knights are this is the big issue that we have with Knights in terms of other teams facing them, is their adaptability in the actual server. Like their opportunity to change things up on a dime is very dangerous. And if you do give them that chance, they will take it. And I think that that's a perfect way to put it, is QConfirm have got to be ratty, but not too ratty at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? You play that playstyle, you rely on the opponent making mistakes. Knights not likely to make a lot of mistakes, but then QConfirm, they can't just erase the identity of their playstyle altogether. But this is looking to be a very, very clear-cut solo push so far from Knights. I love the vertical from Hayward. He goes all the way in big garage. Pretty common now for Buck to play this. You can get 2 floors worth of vert to deny that stairs position. The Knights are actually going to rotate over. It looks like they've made the call. We're going for library now.
It's always good to see when you're in that bird's eye view exactly what an attacking team is trying to achieve. And right there, you could see it clear as day. Again, shout out to Mandy, our wonderful observer. Repel on Twitter.
Repel R6, I believe.
Oh, there you go, Repel R6.
I don't know. That's just.
I didn't know what the end. So. Yeah, I didn't know what the end was, but I knew that it definitely had Repel in there. But anyway, let's move on, because at the end of the day now, Hayward is in a very cheeky position that might be able to find something should they try to rotate. But I couldn't imagine it is going to pay too much dividends. QConfirm will be quite cautious in their approach.
Yeah, look, an aggressive hold here. Producer actually has a mirror in pocket as well. He was tempted to place down. I don't know if this was the right call from Knights. They've gone and tried to rotate their push. But now they've decided to abandon library because, I mean, there's just such a good setup there. Knights looking to be very, very slippery here. They're actually not doing a normal push whatsoever. Not a normal solo push, not a normal library push. Very lurky kind of attack right now, hoping to find an aggressive pick, and there they do get it. They also get info onto the Aruni, and Juicy might be able to be the difference maker here. This could be the opening Knights are looking for.
Well, on the other side of the coin, I guess Sage could be the one that opens things up. However, that push from Juicy is something you'll still want to pay attention to, unless Dino can get more than the one. Hajime from underneath is going to be able to slow things down, but not for too much longer. Dark goes down, and now it is nothing left but a retake. 1v4, there is nothing left in this round. However, don't speak too soon.
Oh no, that air jab doesn't actually manage to catch him. They won't know. They'll think it's air jabbed off. What a shot. The trade comes through. A bit of a scary moment there for the Knights, but they do lock it in. Another good round from them, but I will admit, another one that did make me a little bit nervous in the early to mid round.
Yeah, it's... Honestly, I nothing that I'm seeing is overly convincing from either side. I really don't know where this round ends, right? When we were looking... Yeah, shoot.
I mean, it's just hard. Like, the thing that is really highlighted for me about this game is it's just unusual seeing Knights play this way on their attack. I think it's a good way to play, but they're not just like hard committing to a push, right? Like I said it, you know, at the very start of the round, they committed to Solar. And then they were like, nah, this isn't going to work. Let's go library. And then they went and saw the setup on library. Like, no, we're not going to do that, mate. That's going to be so hard. So they kind of just sat in a bunch of positions where you wouldn't have a push unless you can find a couple picks. And they really relied on QConfirm feeding those picks. They did. I mean, they made it work, but it just does make you nervous when they're... It's like what we were saying before about QC. It's like you're relying on your opponent to do a specific thing. You're relying on your read being correct. Otherwise, that strategy is not going to work.
I guess what I was kind of alluding to is the fact that, like, last game when we were watching Wildcard and Elevate, it was a little bit easier to read, you know, where the round was kind of unfolding to. You know, like you could see, right, here's where they're going to be attacking. This is what they've already done. This is what allows them to do. Whereas this just feels incredibly hard to read. And some of these are really coming down to ones and potentially timings as well. The amount of kills that we've seen where players have not even seen the opponent. They've just been absolutely domed. So, you know, rounds like these do end up on a nice edge and it can be really dangerous. But Knights seem to be adapting quite well to what seems to be a QC win in terms of the veto.
Yeah, maybe, but Josh, I praised him a lot earlier. He's the first one down, so that's a good pick for Lycolis. I was going to say, just another way to mention what your point was before is it's definitely a breath of fresh air watching some Chalet right after watching some Clubhouse. Two very different beasts.
Yeah. It's almost like going from Clubhouse to Coastline, you know? It's just...
Yeah, oh, it is. I mean, these days, Chalet is definitely Coastline light.
Yeah. Yeah, or even, I mean, I guess the consulate is a very easily traded out into that conversation as well. But there we go, Sage does respond once again. 3 rounds out of the 4. QConfirm have found the opening pick, but Knights are so quick to trade back. And with 2 minutes left, they'll start to approach from the east. And oh, Dark's got to be careful. Oh my God, Sage wins that. Ow.
Yeah, with the holo as well. Could be running the 1.5, but he doesn't need it. Apparently, Spacehead is really feeling that pressure now. So many lines of sight opened onto him. And Sage is very keen. Whoa, bit of damage.
Jeez.
Spacehead's got so many angles here. And a lot of them quite unlikely. Still supported by Hajime as well. Now, Knights are going to have to address these hard positions.
Again, though, some of this will come down to timing. Is Spacehead watching the right place at the right time? Are they going to be able to punish it as well? Dino now going to be putting pressure on the library window. I mean, Spacehead is just caught in between a rock and a hard place. And now the big question is, how long can he stay alive? How much damage can he do to Knights as they try to flush him out? Because right now, he's not really being pressured to be pushed into a position to fight. And Dino gets absolutely deleted.
Oh, Spacehead's good for the double. Spacehead and Sage has got it all on his shoulders now. He can find one. Juicy is there in the back line to support, and I guess he finds the other two. So, my God. Rob, take it. I don't know what to call that one.
No, again, it's literally, as we prefaced it, in the kind of prep phase of that round, it's really hard to read what's about to happen. Sure, we know that, like, that Spacehead is eventually going to take a fight. Dino is hard watching from the window. It's going to go either way, right? Dino's going to get deleted, or Spacehead's going to find the, well, I guess find his own coffin in the end. But it's just the way things then unfold from there. It's just chaotic. You have, I actually don't know who it was that was jumping in from the windowsill now. Sage. Just jumping in and contesting library stairs, and within a second, the player's dead. And then from there, the round just collapses. This is just... I'm really struggling to follow what's going on, but I guess that doesn't really say much, as Xenox said earlier.
I mean, I'm struggling to go what's going on. I'm the one taking all the notes and trying to do the analysis. Nah, mate, it's just, this is a pretty cooked game we've got right here on our hands. And that's one of the things with QC is like they like to take risks, and they are that kind of team. Not so much what we would expect from Knights. Knights are quite a versatile team, but they are definitely playing into the chaos rather than trying to hard counter any of the setups from QConfirm, which is unusual and risky, but it's worked for 3 rounds in a row now. So I don't want to be too critical of it, right? If this is the way that Knights want to try and counter QConfirm by beating them at their own game, then by all means, make it work.
It's just a different side, I guess. A different side of Knights that we are potentially not so used to seeing. I guess we've seen it a little bit in OCN. They're a looser playstyle in the National League, but certainly in APAC South, it's not something that we have become accustomed to. So really scary to know if you're a team watching right now that Knights, they can catch whatever you're throwing at the end of the day, right? They've got that ability to adapt on the fly. I don't know how many times I can say adapt this game before I turn into an adaption. So let's just see now. For QConfirm, really don't want to see them slipping too many more rounds from here. 4-2 half is retrievable, 5-1 is devastating.
I think most people would consider Chalet to be attacker favored. So I think that I would say, actually that said, it's been played once in APAC South, 70% defense. When you've only got 10 rounds, I wouldn't really call that a valid...
Not a sample size.
Nah, not really. I mean, even previous stage it was defensive favored, 64% in APAC South, but again, I don't know. I think this is the attacker side of the map. I think it's one of the more attacker side of maps in our pool, along with Coast. But I think Knights would only be happy with 4 or 5 here.
Yeah.
3 would be achievable, but definitely pressure is on QC now. Once again, Spacehead going down, one of those big hitters for the team that's once again been shut down. He's died every single round. Definitely putting QC in a precarious position. And Josh is just having...
what is going on? I just can't follow it. It is absolute madness. And look at this. Dino's going for the plant. There's no one watching. What's going on?
Yeah, look, Dino, I don't know what that was, mate. But it doesn't matter when Knights can just do this. Good night to Lycolis, says Hayward. It's just Dark left. He has a lot of good angles, but they go both ways. 1v4, another one, another one. 1v2, this could be the ace.
Oh, Dark is absolutely maddening. What is this? How does he find the ace? How has he just done that?
No way, man. That is the second 1v5 that Knights have lost this week.
Huh?
Knights, man, you gotta stop feeding him. I mean, credit to Dark. That was absolutely bonkers. He nailed that. And the MX4 with a 1.5. Oh, works a treat in those tight situations. But my God, that did not need to go that way. This is one of the most silly matches of Siege I've seen in quite some time. Both of these teams bringing us an entirely new brand of the game.
I mean, I generally try to stay as composed as I can when I cast, and you know, I try to explain what is happening. I am speechless. How is Dark able to single-handedly pull apart Knights there? That is absolutely filthy. Like, that's on another level, and Knights just the 1v1s. I mean, that all starts with Dino trying to plant with absolutely no cover whatsoever, and it just steamrolls from there. But, I mean, take your hat off. Take an absolute bow, Dark. That's one of a kind.
Absolutely. It's not every day that you see a 1v4 ace, and we've now seen 2 of them in the last week and a half. At least if you've been watching OCN. Knights also lost a 1v4 ace to Emorin when they were playing against Wildcard.
Yep.
And this is definitely something that I think Knights needs to be careful of, because obviously you shouldn't be losing your 5v1s. Yes, Dark played that amazingly, and we got to applaud him and say that, you know, he did it. But, I mean, he walked 2 steps. He didn't have to do much, right? He had to stay composed and hold down the lines and nail those shots, and he did just that. But Knights gave him the chance, and they really didn't need to.
And you know what? It's in a very, very similar situation that we saw Knights do it against Wildcard. Wildcard then went on to really make that game competitive. You got to remember, Knights were up 3-0. Right now, they were up 3-1. There are trends that are kind of following here, and we've really got to start begging the question, how comfortable are Knights in this server? Because that kind of shows the lack of care that they have for that particular, 1v5, and that's not to have a dig at them by any means, but their heads are massive right now. There's no doubt about it.
I believe the Bandit juggled the first of Ace's Selmas, denying a bit of that hard breach. Remember, the previous time QConfirm won this bomb site was thanks to a really strong roam game that Knights just did not address. Looks like Knights actually be able to make a play here. I think they've drawn out the site. They know it's pretty clear. Hajime finds the opener. He was losing that fight, and a C4 from Producer Boom goes boom. 3v5 now for Knights, and I think that, I'm not going to say the mental's been chalked, but now Sage is DC'd. QConfirm, on the back of that insane clutch, look like they might be making this a very winnable match.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be having words, there's no doubt about it. Josh now trying to do his best to open things up for Knights here. He's going to be able to find the kill onto Spacehead. Is it traded in time? Josh can't find the kill. The scope is too close. Producer closes things out. QConfirm have closed out the half 3-3 after a dominant start from Knights.
And we discussed what is a win here out of that half for QC. Absolutely, that is a win. No doubt about it. QConfirm are going to be extremely happy with that result. That was one round that by no means should they have won the ace. They put that in their back pocket. That hypes them up, maybe chalks the mental for Knights a little bit. And then they go and repeat what happened on the previous dining defense that they managed as well. Really, honestly, quite impressed by QConfirm. They are playing into this really well. Knights definitely not having as much of a response as we had expected here. But QC are no slouches. Like we said, previous time these teams played in Stage 2, it was QC who took the win, gave Knights their first L of the stage. And I think that QConfirm could well do it again.
They're on track to do it. Track record's good. The ability to bring that back is, it's undeniable. But really, just huge question marks. Again, Knights, we love you. I love you. Don't get this wrong, Don.
But you're playing terribly.
Yeah, that should not have happened. That is just.
I can be bad cop because I know you'll be a good cop, Rob. It's the only reason. It's I'm only harsh because I love you.
Yeah. Even now, I'm like, how much longer can I be good cop for before I snap on that? That's.
The thing is, they're even, right? This isn't. It's not like they're getting slaps.
No.
And they won 3 rounds in a row. Most of them pretty decisive. But even the nature of them winning those rounds, I don't want to say being critical because I think that it would be pretty, I don't know. I don't think it would be fair of me to say that what I believe the playstyle they should be playing is the only valid playstyle. I think if they wanted to attack like that, then that's valid. But you put that aside and you see those advantages that they have thrown and you think, well, they really need to hope that that technical timeout we just had to let Sage reconnect has helped them figure out what they're going to do on their defense.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
All right, let's move on now and hope that Knights get a fresh start. I guess, a pivotal part of that round as well, Sage dropping down as things started to kind of fall apart for Knights, so it just went from bad to worse. Now we'll see them on the defense, as you said. This is where their test really lies, is this second half. We've seen them on the attack, they've shown good promise, but now it's time to back this up and to walk the walk.
Util burn here for QC. Oh, it's just so perfect. This is what I expected from Knights. Just methodically clearing out the util and taking advantage of it to win gunfights. But it looks like, okay, eventually the nade did finally take down that shield. Knights on the back foot now. Their util slipping away and a man advantage forfeited. This is really, really a good start for QC.
God, the amount of times Knights have had to fight from the man disadvantage, especially in the earlier starts of the round. In phase 1, it really hasn't been that pretty in terms of that stat. But I guess it's not really about whether they lose the first pick, it's how they recover. They have shown they can. They're going to need to again, as QConfirm, they've taken a lot of control from that library area across, and now with Dino completely flushed out, he's rotating back down below.
Sage is a pivotal player here. The way that this office wall is open means that Sage can deny plant as long as he has piano control. If QConfirm can find this pick, it will really rip the rug out from Knights' feet.
And there's no doubt about it, they know it as well. Got a player on piano window. You got Dark just on the other side of the double door. Hayward looking. Ooh. Oh, that is such a gnarly angle. He's been spotted. The gig is up, but he could still do some damage underneath here, depending on how much attention they put there.
Oh, Sage has been droned. There's a lot of util coming his way as well. It's going to be so difficult for him to hold. They march on through. QConfirm go deep, but Juicy stands up. And now he's the last man standing. Not going to be enough for QConfirm. They've taken the lead now and are looking so good here on Chalet.
As if it was a question. As if we ever question how viable this would have been. And Knights were definitely making us believe. 3 rounds straight for QConfirm on the back of the 1v5 from Dark. And now Knights decide to call their tactical timeout. And for those of you watching in the last game, we saw how impactful that was for Wildcard. Can it have the same effect for Knights? They need to put the brakes on here. They have to slow down this momentum by QConfirm. Because as you said, Dev, track records show that QConfirm can punch here.
Absolutely, and their attacks actually look even better than their defenses here for QC. I really would credit them. I think that they did what Knights were avoiding doing, which is just addressing the issues head on, right? Knights saw a mirror window on library and they're like, okay, let's not push here. QConfirm see a shield with Mind Magnets and Jaeger's ADS, and they're like, okay, look, we know we can deal with that. Spam our flashes, use our Gun 6, use our nades, clear it through. QConfirm is playing better Siege right now. And the careful thing for Knights is that I think forfeiting a couple more rounds than they should have on their attack is going to mean that their defense has to be twice as good as usual.
Can it be?
Defenders,
big question.
protect your bombs from being defused.
Can they really hold against an ever-storming QConfirm on Chalet? Doesn't look like they're going to be sticking much of the similar from last. They have moved on from the Kaid. At least I think it was the Kaid. I'm not going crazy, am I? We definitely saw that in piano.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've lost the plot there.
I think it was a 6-pick. I don't know. I entered the operators as they came through. Well, yeah, sorry, there was a Kaid last round instead of the Malusi. So it's the Malusi that they've changed, which is funny because if I recall correctly, and I'm going to double check this with my stats, Malusi is actually an operator that we've seen QConfirm ban out before. I can't actually see that in my stats, but I swear I remember that happening. Yeah, I can see a couple of games they banned it.
Yeah.
They're a team that likes to just swing. We saw how they entered piano. Those bans is going to make that much more difficult.
Then I guess the big question for QConfirm becomes what's their util clear like. They've got 4 nades, you know, Zofia to deal with it as well. We'll wait and see. That, you know, there are so many little mini games that are played across an entire round that sometimes we don't get to see the full impact of util clear. Not like we used to anyway, that's for damn sure. Times have changed, which is good. We're moving on. Dark now, moving into library, or at least thinking about it. That's an early air jab.
Yeah, I think it was placed really early on to try and... I don't know, was that inside or outside? I was a bit confused, didn't quite see where that went, but otherwise, it's an unimpactful air jab, so win for the defense.
Bomb
Dino's
located by
actually got the
attackers.
shield flush with the doorway instead of kind of spaced out like you would normally see.
I'm changing back.
I think QConfirm are going to be pretty happy here at clearing this. So they're really putting this pressure up. A lot of flashes coming down. Nade comes over as well. Should get that opening. No, Dino
What?
still has the shield.
What happened there? What happened there? I mean,
Oh,
no! What happened there? Dino! Goodness me, Sage with a sharp shot to trade back, but walks right into the open arms of Producer. And, I mean, QConfirm are doing an incredible job of keeping their finger on the pulse here. Talking of keeping fingers on pulses, my God! QConfirm are just picking apart Knights. Juicy and Josh all that remain, but it is a 2v3. Things can change on a dime.
Definitely starting to see a favor here for QC though. They might be able to take a 2-round lead. Josh has been a really good player in these early rounds, except for the few times he's been taken out as the opening death. Juicy has been a monster in the late round. This is where he shines.
Flashbang out.
That it is, put all the pressure on that you want. Nate's not going to find absolutely anything, but Josh will find a kill now. 2v2 as they start to progress a little bit closer. Josh holds firm, a second on the board, but Hajime, can he break hearts here? Josh falls back away to the safety of Solarium. As things calm back down, the dust has certainly settled.
But there's a lot of time left for Hajime to bait out this plant. Josh has to move now. Does Hajime have the info? He's going to have to listen quietly. Josh knows that plan is now down, and suddenly Hajime has the advantage of the long-range scope and the high-damage ARX. Josh has to win this to keep his team with their heads above the water. Hajime playing it so well, though. Josh has to win it. Hajime with the 1 versus 2 clutch. QConfirm flying high above, and they've got a 2-round lead on the Knights.
Attack timeout leads to absolutely nothing for the Knights but a 1v2 loss. And it just seems like it's starting to compound a little bit here. Momentum completely halted for Knights. Vigil now being brought for Sage. The Mozzie for Haywood. A bit of a change up in the lineup here and the site. You go to Bar and Gaming. This might be what Knights are looking for to crack this impenetrable bloody egg that it seems QConfirm have posed.
Used by attackers.
Going to be very, very difficult now for Knights to, at best, walk away with the 3 points. I mean, that would be amazing from here on out. They'd have to win 4 rounds in a row and not drop
Bomb located by
another
attackers.
defense. And I just don't see that happening.
Nope.
QConfirm, their attacks look much better than their defenses, and Knights let QConfirm get away with some weak defenses. They let them have those points. If this had been a 4-2 for Knights or a 5-1 for Knights, this scoreline would not be worrisome for them at all. The fact that QConfirm are doing some good attacks, because Knights would have known that they did the same. They did. And now QConfirm have everything they need to get not only a win here, but potentially even a regulation win. They haven't got a single match in Stage 3 under their belt, and they might be able to take down the Stage 2 champions.
Still feel like that's just an insane thing to think about, but the prospect is well and truly on its way. Josh now going to take the point of contact all the way in kitchen and trying to hold trophy. He's got Sage above in Solarium that'll be able to support should QConfirm try to flush him out here. Sage, drone shooting, we'll say 6 out of 10, still gets it done. Only 6 drones on the board left for QConfirm. 2 minutes in, that's pretty decent from Knights, all things considered. Oh my God.
That's not. Another opening engagement goes the way of QC. They've won almost all of them this entire match through, and it's Hajime and Lycolis who are always on that front line. QConfirm really starting to tighten the noose here. And Josh knows he needs to find something to respond.
Say tightening, the noose. At this point, it kind of feels like just giving Knights more rope and they'll do it themselves. They've really started to put their backs up against the wall in nearly every aspect here. And oh my god,
no.
Colas is a beast unleashed. God.
Oh, another one! Oh my god! He's found 3! Dark going down. Josh is doing the first little bit of work, and Hayward's on the rotation here. Does put Josh in an unsupported position. He's taken down. This is it, man. Like, QConfirm are a league above Knights right now.
They are storming away with this game. They are absolutely dancing on the grave of Knights. Match points. All 3 points on the cards here for QConfirm. Not a single person on the analyst desk. The predictions from us, Dev, have all been toward the Knights. And how quickly that can turn on a dime. QConfirm styling on them right now.
What a redemption for QC as well, because Stage 2 started so strongly for them. They ended up getting massive wins over most of their key opponents, the ones that they would typically expect to be taking the positions above them on the standings. I'm talking like, you know, your Knights, your Dire Wolves. Then they finally ended up facing Invictus. That was that embarrassing 7-1 defeat. Really took them down a peg. Stage 2 also looked to be embarrassing.
Bomb located by attackers.
Up until now, and they are doing away with Knights. This is not even looking difficult for QConfirm on their attacks. I think this is the second time today we're also seeing a map that was arguably won during the map veto. This is not a map that Knights have had in their pool, not one that they've established in many comp games, especially not many convincing ones. But QConfirm, it's a staple throughout their local leagues. And they cruise through, and they play it there, they win it there against far worse teams than the Knights. Yet Knights just cannot dig in.
That's exactly what they're going to have to do, is dig their feet in. Because right now, they're stuck, just dead in the water. They need to find some solid ground. The question is, oh my god, are QConfirm going to let them? Spacehead nearly rips apart Sage and Mud. Juicy.
Oh my god.
This is just ridiculous. 2 out of, what, 10 rounds now is all that Knights have been able to confirm for the opening picks. QConfirm have 8. 8!
4 attacks in a row that QConfirm have started with a 5v4, essentially. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Spacehead has been taken down. That's just the Frost mat, though. He's going to get picked up quite easily by Dark. Like the way that QConfirm are playing these attacks, if I'm honest. I think that they're just taking map control. They're playing pretty simple Siege. They're just always on each other, always supporting. They're shutting down aggression. It's really just everything that we didn't see from Knights on their attacks. We're seeing here from QC. And I know that Guz in the Discord chat called a 7-3 after Knights lost that 5v1. Starting to think that might be on the cards.
Jeez, that's where this all started. A little round back in round 5 is where things spiraled out of control, and there's no signs of it stopping. Yeah, there's literally no signs of it stopping, Dev. And with the man advantage, QConfirm, I mean, they may well walk their merry way into 3 points.
Ooh, that nade didn't clear out the shield, however, but Hayward does pull back. He does find one. Dino's here to support as well. Dark going deep. He might find this. Dino gonna try and refrag that fight. But he's got to win this one, and Dark is so close. How does he win that? Once again, QC have the man advantage. Ooh. Josh can desperately try to fight back, but he's got to line up a second here to really make it possible. QConfirm have 40 seconds to pull off this 3 versus 3, but Josh is the man to step up in the moment.
Through a melee hole. God. Talk about sweat. QConfirm starting to now. Josh going to be holding the line again. That is so deep. That's all the way through to Fireplace. covering the staircase. Can Josh hold any more players like Colas and Producer? Oh my god, it's a trade somehow from Lycolis as he pushes in. This is still winnable, Sage. They're going to wait for this diffuser to be stuck for it to go down, to then capitalize to collapse on Lycolis, who can't do a damn thing. Knights finally found a round, but at what cost?
Very, very close one. That, though, is how you play a 2v1. Knights, very well done. They know that they've been pushed to their bloody limit, and they are not going to let it go close like it did before. They are not going to forfeit their advantages. They've finally broken that QConfirm streak, Rob. 5 rounds in a row, the Thai team managed to steal from the Knights. And, I mean, it got to the point where it was no longer theft. It was just pure ownership. QConfirm inherited that long before they were ever born. Knights is doing what they can to try and make this game salvaging a bit of their pride, but I don't know if it's even possible. I think QConfirm may have taken this too far.
I would definitely agree with you. This is, you know, 2 rounds Knights are going to have to string back-to-back after 3 successful from QConfirm. 2 in Master, 1 in Bar Games, and it was the kitchen dining that really did in QConfirm. So we're going to go back to a 0% sight for Knights. Out of 2 attempts, that's the other big blaring issue here. Blaring, goodness me. We're getting close. English will be a mainstay, I promise you, but
10 seconds left before insertion.
it is really dire for Knights in this situation, and I mean, so many points, you know, starting from the veto. Before we even jumped in the server, were we questioning what was going on, and I think it's only gotten worse from their dev. They still have that opportunity to salvage it, but it just feels like QConfirm, they're on a roll.
I will say, though, I've seen some pretty stellar performances from a couple of the Knights guys, Josh in particular. Every time we're spectating him, I'm like, man, if he gets 1 here or gets 2, like, the sky is the limit. But if he gets shut down, and every Knights fan's heart's going to sink, because Josh is the guy who's putting that team on his shoulders right now. Yeah, it obviously is a team game at the end of the day, but a lot of these situations that aren't looking winnable, it's Josh who's making that, turning the tide.
So things setting up for QConfirm, incredibly spread in terms of their attack. Players covering most of the larger key features, double windows as such. Producer looking for something, I don't know what, but you may be rewarded, I guess. Patience is a virtue. A virtue they will need to find here. Because Knights are definitely a team that can bring this back. But again, it's all about waiting and seeing how they adapt to the last 2 rounds.
Oh, another lead-off kill once again in the double. QConfirm right on the cusp of this map. Knights once again on the back foot. They have to go large, but I think this might be the one that QConfirm lock in.
Have to agree with you. Absolutely have to. This is just looking all but a done deal. All but a sure thing. Big thing right now. Josh and Juicy still alive. Sage has had his impact throughout the match, so QConfirm are coming up against 3 of the best, specifically in Playday 3 here for Knights.
Trying to clear off this electric wall to enable a breach. Juicy down but not out. Sage is the player who needs to go huge here. Hajime trying to pressure from outside. Knights once again rely on Josh and Sage. Spacehead walks up the back stairs, and this is all over. Sage overwhelmed. QConfirm end their losing streak with a huge victory, taking down the Knights.
Getting styled on apparently is what Knights are about here in Playday 3. QConfirm. Whew. That is a massive game, a huge 3 points for them to be able to claim. And you know what? That final round, I think, is so indicative. The first 2 opening kills, they then go on to absolutely swarm the site from all points. And from there, it's all over. It is all over. And, I mean,